The controversial piece of legislation that gives legal status to undocumented young people who entered the U.S. as children is now one step closer to becoming law. The DREAM Act passed the House with 216 votes and is now expected to be voted on by the Senate early next week. But many lawmakers still object to it. We're joined by Iowa Congressman Steve King, an immigration attorney and an immigrant herself, Tanya Gendelman. Welcome to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Congressman, I want to start with you. I know you are philosophically opposed to the DREAM Act, so let me just give you the practical argument that its supporters are making. Basically, they say we've invested in these young people who came here to this country through no fault of their own. We've paid for their public school education. Now we're going to send them back and not capitalize on that investment? How do you respond?
Well, in the first place, many of them did not come here through no fault of their own. Many of them did come here on their own. We continue every single day. We have dozens and hundreds and perhaps even thousands who come across the border who are under 16 of their own volition. Many of them are carrying drugs across the border at a young age. So it doesn't necessarily follow that they were brought here against their will or that they were particularly young. And neither does it follow that these kids are all the way up to 30-year-old kids that would apply under this, and these kids turn into gray-haired adults before the paperwork can be completed. So it's not the matter of kids, but this is it. It's suspending the rule of law and rewarding people for breaking the law. That we've drawn the line. And when you back up and grant amnesty and you reward people for that, then you've just promised there will be another amnesty and another amnesty. This is actually larger than the 1986 Amnesty Act. Okay,
Tanya, your response to the points the congressman has made.
Yes, I completely disagree. We should allow these people to stay here. We have invested time, money. Absolutely, they're here to stay.
Congressman, let me show both of you actually right now a new Gallup poll, because it seems as though the American public, Tanya, is actually on your side. This Gallup poll was just out yesterday. Perhaps we can pull it up for you. We don't have it, but let me tell you what it says. That 54% of Americans do support the DREAM Act. I think 42% don't and 4% were unsure. So it seems, Congressman, that the tide is on the side of the DREAM Act passing.
Well, I would want to see how they actually ask that question. It makes a lot of difference on the precise language, but when they've got a nice name on a bad bill. So, first thing that people do is they think, yes, I like that. I want people to have a dream. To give you an example, in the Iowa House, they passed it 97-0, and when they found out what was in the DREAM Act in the Iowa Senate, even though it was controlled by Democrats, they refused to even bring it up. But here's the central question that needs to be asked and answered by the proponents of the DREAM Act, and it's this: what do you say to the widow of a soldier who's given his life to defend our liberty in a place like Iraq or Afghanistan, whose widow is sitting in a desk paying out-of-state tuition next to a recipient of amnesty under the DREAM Act who's getting a free education in California or paying one-third the tuition in Iowa?
Okay.
How do you reconcile that conundrum?
And Tanya, perhaps you can respond to that. There are people fighting for our freedom while other people are breaking the rules to get in.
Right, but by the same token, the same act proposes that people that want to apply for citizenship should either go to college or serve in the military. So this is their way to serve in the military, to serve the country, and this is how you reconcile.
Well, as you point out, part of the stipulation of this is that they would pay back their investment through the military service. We'll have to leave the debate there. Congressman Steve King, Tanya Gendelman, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Allison. We know that's not the answer.
Thank you. Meanwhile, their man's best friend on the battlefield, the dogs helping our soldiers.